Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to paint your textured ceilings. And there's two different conditions for textured ceilings, whether it's been painted before or not. Both cases, there's similar procedures, and I've got a trick I'm going to show you right now. Whenever you're dealing with textured ceiling, the corners are really difficult. Because if you're going to paint the ceiling, inevitably you have to paint the wall. It's just no way to get around that, right? So take your finger and just clean any texture out of that edge. And then what I'm going to suggest, grab some of this fast dry caulking, it's 20 minutes, put it in your gun, and then just put a really thin bead right into that corner. And I'll tell you why. You wipe that in. Now I've got an edge that's smooth and clean, so when I'm done painting my ceiling, I've got somewhere that I can bring my wall paint to. That's a nice clean straight edge, and I can cut a straight line. If I don't do that, then everywhere where there's texture caught in all the corners, your brush is going to be bouncing off of it and your line always looks like junk. This is the system, and if you have a pre-painted ceiling, you just grab a putty knife and you can just run it up against the wall like that and scratch out any of the extra texture that's in the way. Okay, then you can use the caulking. Now let's get on to painting, because we're going to show you some tips and tricks today so that if you don't have a painted ceiling, there are a lot of people that like to use a roller technique and it flattens out on the ceiling. So I'm going to demonstrate how not to do it, and then I'm going to show you the right tools so that you can do it properly, get a great result. So I know it's a textured ceiling, and if you check this, it comes off pretty easily, right? So you want to be careful. Get your paint on your brush. We're going to use a very flat ceiling paint with no acrylic. And that is actually for two reasons. One, if you don't use any acrylic and you want to remove it at a later date, you still can. It's still possible, okay? If you use any acrylic in the paint, you're in trouble. You're going to have to belt sand it off. It's a brand new world. But you're going to paint this surface here, last inch, and that's about it, okay? Just want to get rid of any previous wall color that might be riding a little bit too high, and then we're going to use our roller right up to about a ½ inch from the edge of the ceiling to finish our look. But that's the technique. Don't go crazy or you'll just end up wiping all the stipple off and you'll have a flat section. Just go up against that caulking line and you're just a couple of passes and that's it. So this is the setup. I've got a cage, I've got a regular roller. This is a microfiber 15 millimeter or ½ inch roller if you're down in the States. I've got it on my extension pole and now I'm just going to load up the roller. It can take a few minutes, okay? You want to keep going until you don't see any of the color on that microfiber showing through. That's how you know the paint is all the way into the back of the bristle. All right, now I'm loaded up. Let's show you what everybody else does out there. They'll go up here like this and they'll just start painting. Oh, that looks nice, doesn't it? Okay. And they go, wow, that really soaks up a lot of paint. All right, and it does. This medium texture really soaks up a lot of paint. So they'll come over here, they'll do another row right next to it. Oh, and then, wow, I'm already out of paint. And we'll do one more row, and then you'll see why this is the wrong way to go about this. Where I'm standing, I've got two distinct lines here that are flattened out with the texture. I remember I did a project for somebody and I painted their stipple ceiling. I was young, years and years ago, and I did the same roller technique. A few months later, I got a call, and it was in February. The sun's low in the sky, and it was coming through the windows, and you could see all the lines from where I rolled it, okay? And they were really quite upset because it looked horrible for about 2 or 3 months a year. This is where we learn. Trust me on this. If you've had this experience, get in the comments section and let me know. What I'm going to show you right now is the solution. It's the proper technique and the proper roller so you don't get this problem. Because if you are out there and you're trying to make a living and you're painting people's ceilings like this and you get that call back, the only solution now is to take the stipple off and respray the ceiling. That hurts. Okay, let's get on with it. So what we're going to use for this, and it works for any kind of texture, whether it's stipple or stalactite, it works great. It's called a split foam roller. Now these are actually on the shelf at your local Home Depot and your Lowe's, probably every other building center. Because a long time ago, somebody figured out that if they just take a foam roller and they slice it, right, into about 30 different rows, then as the texture goes by, it can shape itself around the texture and won't pick it off and take it off the ceiling. And it won't put all that pressure that goes through the cage to this corner, and it won't translate it through the stipple. All right, now we're gonna load this one up. And a quick word of warning, this actually is a lot messier. It tends to spray around, so extend your stick and try to stay out of the way. Because it's foam, you don't want to use much pressure at all, okay? Because as soon as you start using pressure, then the roller starts to drip. There we go. There we are. Nice and gentle. And you'll see like all those little mini streaks. That's actually excess paint. What ends up happening is the drywall and the stipple will soak it all up as it's drying. There we go. Now, we're going to do one more pass, and I'm going to show you how well it covers that yellow from the bin Zinsser. Okay? Here we are. Nice and gentle. And the yellow is now gone. And if you missed it, we did a video. We showed you how to do repair on this texture. So we used a stain sealer from bin Zinsser on the yellow marks in the ceiling there, which creates a yellow mark, but at least it seals up and covers all the rest. And we also did a patch and repair. We're gonna go paint that right now. It should be dry. This area here was a great big square in the ceiling that was cut away and patched, and then we rolled on a texture and tried to blend it into the rest of the ceiling. We're gonna see how invisible that is after painting. And be careful with these the foam roller. Don't push too hard. That makes a mess. Nice, gentle pressure. Because if you push too hard, look at that mark is going to stay in the ceiling and you just flatten out the space. And there you have it. That actually worked out pretty good. So if you need to see the techniques for how to fix your ceiling before you paint it, then you can check out the video over here. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for quick tutorials on how to solve your everyday life problems. We'll see you in another video soon. Cheers.